right, guys, it's day 7 of automating your small business workflows or your own personal workflows. So this day, what I want you to do is be able to think about keeping a human in the loop. AI, obviously, technology is getting better and better by the day, but before you roll out things without even checking on it, figure out in your process as you kind of work through your workflows and work streams and the apps that you're building. Think about where you want that validation process to happen. For example, on your Kanban board, you have these different statuses, right? And so there's a part where you're writing the acceptance criteria, user stories, and maybe you kind of cheat out and do a crappy version of that. But you tell it to build, right? But you don't want it to go to production unless you check it out. So where, as part of that validation stage, do you want to be in, and do you want to revalidate that? So one of the things that I would highly recommend is if you use, I don't know if Visio is still a thing, but there's this other app called Draw.io, and it's also open source, so you could probably code your way into creating statuses in there too. I actually did that as a corporate gig for a while. But what you could do is basically design out what your process is. So every box is your process or a component that your workflow goes through, and figure out where you want that human in the loop. So as you begin to draw out really big architecture, and if you're not a product manager or a software development manager, just know that PMs and SDEs, what they do is they kind of draw out all the different components of their system so they can kind of see it all the way through. That's what we did in consulting back in the day whenever we consulted on physicians and pharmacists, going through their workflows as we started automating some of their systems with electronic medical records. So what I would highly recommend you do is figure out where, as part of an overall workflow, is your human going to be in the loop for? And as you build your muscle for this, then make sure that you keep these design diagrams somewhere that you can reference. A good example of this is maybe having backups of your photos, right? So let's say you're doing a backup for your photos. So where in the process does it start, where the original photo originates, and usually your phone, and then where does it sync, and where is the redundancy, right? And so you draw out and map that out. That will help you understand how your code works in the future. Trust me when I say this. And if you are too lazy to do that, then after you build your code or have Cloud Code or Codex, build your code, have it then go build out a diagram for you to look at. It doesn't have to be Draw.io, but I prefer Draw.io. I'm sure you could do it in Obsidian too, so it's stored all in one place, or Excalibur, but just draw it somewhere so that you can reference it later. So think about your human in the loop today, and let me know how it goes.